Hello. So I've been contemplating if I should make this video, but I don't even know if I'm going to post it or just save it for myself. But I figured it'd be helpful to some and that I can share it in support groups. So, I'm pretty picky with who I have on my Facebook, and I feel like I open up to close family and friends about things that go on in my life, but I think there's a lot that we all don't know about each other, and I think that um, I'm almost gonna feel like a relief by talking about what's going on with me. So, um, like I said, my main focus of this video is to bring awareness. So, as many of you know, I might be looking over here because I jotted some notes. That a lot of you know that I suffer from anxiety, and I know a lot of people suffer from anxiety. It's actually more common than not. And it's never a competition, but I feel like a lot of my friends or people in my life say, like, oh my God, I'm feeling really anxious. Like, I just had a panic attack. And, I can totally relate to them and I can sympathize and empathize with them. But I think their panic attacks versus what I go through is quite different. And I understand that they're still suffering, and it doesn't take away from that. I just have never really opened up with how severe I have it. So I think this might come as a surprise to some of you because honestly, my full-time job is trying to hide it, just fighting it, mental war. And I think that being open about what's going on in your head can only help in the long run. So just a little backstory. I've been going through panic attacks since I was little. I don't remember like my first one, but the one I do remember, I was 6 years old. It was a hot day, it was crowded, and I'm waiting online, and I just felt like I was gonna faint. Like, it's not just like, oh, my heart's pounding, it's, oh, I'm going down. And there's little to no warning. So it was very scary, especially as a 6-year-old. Like, when you're little, because I teach kindergarten, vocabulary isn't as easy to use in how you're really feeling. So I think I would say, like, I'm scared or I don't feel good. Anxious wasn't a word that I knew because I didn't even know what it really was. So I never knew that it was a panic attack. And I thought maybe I was just like really dehydrated, and standing in a crowd made me a little claustrophobic, and that's it. But what happens in these panic attacks is the blood rushes from my head and I'm no longer able to function. So I can't walk. And that's why they call it paralysis panic attacks, because I'm literally paralyzed. Some panic attacks are worse than others, and it varies on how long it'll last. But my instinct is to always be on the floor. I cannot stand, usually cannot talk, so I can't even tell you what's going on. And honestly, the number one thing is, even though I've had so many, every time you start to think like, oh, I'm going to die. And it's just very scary. So hold on one second. And I just want to stress that, like, I was raised in a family that supports me and provides like literally unconditional love. And I understand this is common with kids that go through trauma, and you never know what trauma is. And I think about that as a kindergarten teacher, like maybe my reaction to something might be trauma for someone. Like if a kid said they don't feel good and I said, it's okay, wait it out, that's their way of telling me I don't feel good. And not being taken serious sometimes sticks with you. So I don't know if I had my own form of trauma, but whatever it was, I blacked out. But I do know in 100% confidence I had an amazing childhood, and I'm very lucky. So the feeling of this panic attack, it's blindsiding. I could be talking to you, having fun, feeling fine, and I think that's where I get anxiety, because it could happen anytime. And I've spent 29 years trying to find the pattern, and it's pretty blindsiding because out of nowhere I'm not functioning. So there's really no words to describe how scary it is. It's debilitating, and I have fainted from them. And when I faint, it's like the best sleep of my life, and my body's completely shut down from stress, and I don't want to wake up from the sleep even though I fainted. It's just so peaceful. But my body literally gives out and I cannot take it, so I faint. I recently, August 3rd, had one of my worst panic attacks ever, and I say it was the worst because it lasted over an hour. Sometimes they last 20 minutes, but this one, I heard a loud noise in a parking lot. I was waiting for an Uber. I didn't drink any alcohol, and it hit me really hard, and I had to sit on the floor, and just the burning in your head and your heart's pounding so, and I can't speak to my friend to tell her what's going on. So the Uber was literally like 3 feet in front of me, and I physically could not, I couldn't walk to it. So, I mean, here's a dog. But I mean, the Uber is there to save me, and I can't walk to it. That's how bad it is. Eventually, my friend, I lost my vision. I'm trying to see if I could pause this. I've never used this before. I lost my vision, so I'm seeing complete black. I'm barely conscious. I pass out in the Uber. TMI, but I have this very serious urge to use the bathroom. I can't even tell my Uber driver what's going on. And then when I came to my apartment, my friend stayed with me, and I couldn't see the stairs going into my apartment. And then it lasted for a while, and then once it's over, I'm like good as new. It's like a reset. But I was having fun, and for me to just end the night like that, it sets me back, because the main reason I have anxiety is because I'm scared of having a panic attack due to embarrassment. Because when I have a panic attack, people freak out. I'm on the floor. It's embarrassing. Their panic sets me off. And I feel like I've spent my entire life trying to figure out why this happens to me. So I know this is really long, and if you're listening, thank you. But so when I was younger, I, had a few panic attacks. Like after I was 6 years old, I was like 8 years old, and in the middle of a chorus concert that I was really looking forward to, I almost blacked out. I just walked out of the crowd. Like I just knew I had to get out of there. It's this feeling of being stuck. And even though it's something enjoyable, I can tell my legs are getting weak, and it's like impulsive. I have to leave. So that was a panic attack. I had one when I was 14 at a Today Show with my mom, which was really bad. And I went to the doctors throughout this. Like, I'm sure that's what people are going to say. And, I was positive. Like, I have diabetes, I have anemia, something is wrong in my physical body. And I kept wanting to figure out what it was. So I did a lot of blood work. I saw a cardiologist. Since then, I've had so much more blood work. I've had many medicines, different therapists, different psychiatrists. It's just sometimes you feel like, how can anybody help? So the main point of me explaining this, so what I was going to say is that I went to the doctor again when I was like 18, so 11 years ago, and my doctor referred me to a psychiatrist. And I saw her, and, looking back, I definitely should have been taken. Like, she told me, you're having panic attacks. And I was mind blown. I was like, there's no way I'm doing this to myself. There's just no way. I'm not thinking anxious thoughts. It happens when I'm having fun. Like, how am I doing this to myself? The brain is so powerful. So she kind of fucked me over. Like, she prescribed me Lexapro and Xanax, and the Xanax is as needed. So I would only take it if I was like in the middle of a panic attack, and like it honestly works amazing. I know the stigma, it's addicting, I know. But there are people that really need stuff like that when it's that severe. So I never really tell anybody that I was on all the medicines. So I was seeing her for about 9 years. And throughout the time, I say, like, if I take a Xanax, I'm literally prescribed 1/4 of a Xanax. Like, it's not a lot. I feel good. Like, I feel myself. I feel like I can do things. I'm calm. I'm thinking straight. It also makes me hungry, which my stomach never gets hungry. I'm that girl that I eat because I know it's time to eat. I'm getting shaky, I'm getting weak. My stomach never really tells me I'm hungry. And Xanax gives me that signal to my brain, like, you should have food. And I don't get high on it like my college friends might, but I legit need it. And I was only 18 and vulnerable, and looking back, like, I should have been given routes to like herbal help and a therapist. Like, that wasn't her concern, and psychiatrists really only care about the medicine. So I saw her for 9 years. In the 9 years, she's put me on Lexapro and raised it like a few times because I was still anxious, and I go through waves. So sometimes it's like I'm the type of person, like, I had a good day and I'm like, oh, I'm fixed. But it's always lingering in the back of my head, but it goes in waves. Okay, then I finally said, I messaged my psychiatrist about my August 3rd panic attack. I said it was one of the worst I've ever had. My body completely shut down. And she didn't respond to me. So I was like, I need someone who actually cares. And I went to someone new. And he was like, I'm not comfortable with giving you Xanax. That's something I prescribed for like 2 to 4 months because it's not good for your future. It can cause dementia. So you have to realize I've been on it for like 10 years at this point. And I don't take it every day. I take it when I feel really anxious. And he made me feel not listened to. I got to an appointment at like 5:03 and he said I wasn't there at 5 and canceled it. I'm like, I need someone that cares about my well-being. Like, this isn't just, I'm not a guinea pig. So in the meantime, I went to a neurologist. I got like multiple brain scans. And just like everything always comes out normal. And I know that that's a good thing, but I'm always wanting it to show something so that I don't feel crazy. Because I know my body and I know something is off. And I ended up, he told me I should see a psychotherapist. Now, I've seen maybe 4 therapists before this, and they weren't bad. I just never felt like I got anything out of it. And I am so in love with my therapist. She is a light. She remembers everything I say. She's wise. She's sympathetic. She's amazing. And she's an advocate for me. And I think literally by the law, everybody should go to therapy. And I never thought that before. So she found me a new psychiatrist. And at this time, I was on Prozac. And I didn't feel like it was working at all. And I was still on Xanax, and the last guy gave me propranolol, which is supposed to slow your heart rate, but you take it like 3 times a day. And like in the beginning, I didn't even want to be on medicine. But when you're feeling like, it's not just me going out to the mall feeling anxious, I'm literally in the comfort of my own home, sitting on the couch, and I feel sick. As many of you know, I had to take off 5 months of work because, everyone thinks I just had an eating disorder. And it was so much deeper than that. There's serotonin in your stomach. And when you're anxious, you're in that fight or flight. So I'm in fight or flight all the time because my body senses danger, like as if I'm getting attacked by a tiger. And I don't feel hungry. Like if you are getting attacked by a tiger, you're not going to be thinking, oh, I should eat right now. So I struggled with wanting to eat, and food didn't seem appealing to me. And it was never about my body image. And I went to eating disorder therapy. It was terrible. I hated it. It was traumatizing. I know I'm skipping all over the place, but basically anxiety has affected me in so many ways. And I love my therapist, and she just prescribed me to, she referred me to a new psychiatrist. And right away, I just felt like she wasn't warm, and she was trying to get me off the Prozac and off the Xanax and all, like just so much. And it's like, my body can't take all these changes. Like, I'm not going to know what works, because if you're giving me 5 different things, I'm not going to know which one is bad, which one's working. So I told her the Prozac wasn't working anyways. I'll just try the Zoloft on like a low dosage. And honestly, I felt pretty good. Then I had a really, really near-death experience. And I let my psychiatrist know, like, my anxiety is heightened now because I just went through a traumatic event. And like, she didn't seem to care, like in the slightest. She didn't acknowledge the car accident. And she said she'd raise my Zoloft. So this was like a month ago. And at this time, I was 102 pounds. And since taking the Zoloft, it's like too high of a dosage, and it's destroying my body. And I am now, like yesterday, I was 89 pounds, and today I'm 90. So I went to my primary doctor and I got all blood work done. Like my thyroid's good. Like my doctor's like, you cannot be on this Zoloft. And like I've expressed this to my psychiatrist so many times that like I am having the worst side effects and I can't stop losing weight. And by the way, I'm eating so well. I eat 3 meals a day. I'm eating healthier. I'm so proud of myself with the eating. It took a long journey to get there. And I know now people are probably seeing me thinking like she's not eating again, but it's not true. I'm just having side effects from this Zoloft. So, I messaged her twice about these side effects and like she doesn't answer me. So my therapist called her and basically said like you have to get her off of this, like her body's rejecting it. So I'm weaning off the Zoloft now. She gave me Klonopin instead of Xanax, which is also super addicting. She told me it would help me in a panic attack, but the problem is it takes an hour to feel. Like Xanax takes 3 minutes to feel. So like it's never going to work in a panic attack. My panic attack is going to be over. And I'm just beyond frustrated because I've been asking people like, do you know anyone in Rockland or Orange County? And they either don't take my insurance, which is good insurance, or they're like, yeah, I can see you in April. And it's like, I can't live like this. So what ended up happening was my therapist recommended my psychiatrist fill out a form. It's called GeneSight, and they do a swab of your DNA, and they tell you like every medicine that would have a positive effect or a negative effect on you, and it just blows my mind that like no one's ever brought this up before. But I think what I just want to stress is that like anxiety is a beast, and it's not who I am, like at all. Like I am super outgoing. I love socializing. I am an empathetic soul that I have appreciation for life. And this is why people go into a depression. I'm not depressed. I'm frustrated. It seems like I've done everything and nothing or nobody knows what's going on. So I am talking to my doctor again tonight, just to get even more advice because my blood work keeps coming out pretty good. And I just want to stress that it's not fake when you see me being happy and you see me saying good morning. Like that is me. I am not my anxiety. I struggle with anxiety and I'm on the path, and I've been on this path a long time. And I would love other people's input. I mean, it's just crazy what they do because I feel like we're under so much stress and stimulation, and it's a little different than it used to be. Like if I'm in fight or flight most days, it's stress to my body, and basically I am trying to be off Xanax when I've been on it for 11 years, and it's the only thing that's ever helped me. So it kind of sucks that they just like give you something great and then they're like, oh, the government's gonna like get involved. So let's see. I think of anxiety as like an unwanted guest. Like I can think back to events that I was at and I'm like, oh yeah, she was there. Like she was there for that too. And it's like I didn't invite her. Like it really is just, the brain is so powerful. I try and do all the strategies that my therapist has taught me, and she's amazing. But if I do have a chemical imbalance or something, it's like I think I got cut off, but basically, I just want to reiterate that, this anxiety, I usually wake up in like a fight or flight feeling. My body doesn't recognize what real danger is. Like in the car accident I had, I was able to be on adrenaline and shock and I can handle it. But doing something like going on a first date or parent-teacher conference, like just, I don't know, there's things that in my head I should be okay. And I know it's silly, but it doesn't change that it's still happening. It honestly feels like I'm about to do like a public speaking in front of a crowd, maybe going on stage, like drowning and feeling like I need air. That's the feeling, and I get it over silly things. So basically, I don't want anyone to worry about me. This is nothing new. I've always been going through this. This doesn't change anything about me that you know. But this is the reality, and I think a lot of people go through it, and I think that no one knows how to really get through it. And I've been so lucky with the support of my friends that listen and family. And, I'm in a new relationship, and he's been like the most understanding, calming person about it. But it is one of those things that because you can't see it, you don't know. Like, I think if the equivalence of the mental health problem I have, like, I think if you saw it physically on my body, then it would be like more valid. But I have tried Prozac, Propranolol, hydroxyzine, terrible, Klonopin, Lexapro, Buspirone, L-theanine, and Zoloft, and Xanax. So I just want to say that, I do feel a lot of energy in comparison to people I've asked, and I think sometimes that has something to do with it, but I do feel like this needs to be taken more seriously. And if any of you ever want to talk about what you're going through, like I have nothing but abilities to relate. And if anyone has advice for me, I'm never gonna not listen to that as well. I think that has changed. I think the use of technology, maybe our economy, stress, I don't know what it is, but it just seems so many people have anxiety and depression. And like I said, I'm not looking for any sympathy from this. It's just the reality of what I go through, and no one knows what anyone goes through but you. So you always have to take care of you. And thank you if you listen to this ridiculously long video.